This is the Kilt Father, Marc Gunn, with another interview. You'll learn why you should watch out for wild boar in Italy, see what happens when a juggler's props don't arrive, and learn about the most beautiful place in Europe. I interviewed juggler Paolo Garbanzo in April, and I'm going to share that in just a moment. But first, I want to let you know a few things. I am playing this Saturday, May 13th, from 7 to 11 p.m. at Johnny McCracken's Celtic Pub in Marietta, Georgia, so go check that out. There is a new episode of Rebel Pub Songs on the Pub Songs podcast that comes out tomorrow, May 9th. So if you aren't subscribed to the Pub Songs podcast, go to pubsong.com. There's a May the 4th Be With You special, the Irish and Celtic Music podcast, that is currently up. And I also did a Nerd Pub Songs video over on YouTube that I put up last week. It was a live show, and I'm doing a lot more with YouTube in the days to come. This is my new video format that I'm going to be a lot of stuff. So if you're not subscribed to my channel, you can do that, youtube.com/Marc Gunn. Finally, there are 10 days left for the Kickstarter for As Long As I'm Flying. That is my Firefly Brown Coat album, and the album is doing primo. I'm still hoping I can hit the next stretch goal, which is $8,000. But I'm actually would love if I could do even more. I have this particularly a video idea that I want to do with some guys that are local, and it would be totally awesome. But in order to do that, I'm gonna need to raise some more money to pay for it, I think. So you can go do that. But more importantly, most of what I want to do about the Kickstarter, though, is if you enjoy Firefly, if you love that sort of stuff, please share it with someone. I want the Kickstarter to hit as many brown coats as possible, and I know you've done a great job. Many of you have already been sharing it, and I hope you'll do it again. Find a group, find a hashtag, and share. And I really appreciate any help you can get. All right, without further ado, we're going to play this interview with Paolo Garbanzo. This is Marc Gunn, and I am here with Paolo Garbanzo. Yes, we are rolling now. Sorry, I didn't tell you that. Paolo Garbanzo, a master juggler. What is that term you got in England when you...
That would be Jester of Muncaster Castle.
All right.
Honorary Jester of England.
Yes, honorary Jester of England. And it's
like a Miss America for jesters.
And that gets weird images. I don't know.
Yeah, I killed it in the swimsuit competition.
Not only is Paolo extremely funny, or at least maybe just for me, I don't know. I laugh my butt off every time I'm around you. But he also is a bit of an adventurer, and he does a lot of traveling. Not only has he been doing it as a juggler, but as he's recently with some travel vacations that he's doing.
Excursion guide.
What's it called? Ren Adventures?
Yes, Ren Adventures.
An idea he stole entirely from me.
Absolutely.
And made it so much better than... Well. Absolutely.
See? I don't know.
Which I love. I love that. I love that aspect. But what I want to talk about is adventuring in
general.
Adventuring, yes. Adventuring. I think adventuring in general, I think is good, because that could go everything from Dungeons and Dragons to...
I got some stories there. This one time.
to, of course, traveling to Europe. So tell me about what was your first trip to Europe?
Well, my first trip to Europe, honestly, was to teach at the circus school in Turin.
That's a joke, right?
No.
It sounds like a start of a joke.
No, it was 7 months, most of a school year. I had never actually... I've been to the Bahamas and Mexico, but that was in the before times when you didn't actually need a passport. So it was like, thanks to the internet, I got this job. And,
wow.
There's a...
How old were you?
This was 2003, so it was just before the Winter Olympics in Turin.
Wow.
So they were doing a whole bunch of construction and things like that, but I tell you, before the Olympics, no one spoke English in Turin.
Really?
Oh my gosh. So I was like...
Your Italian was pretty strong then?
No, it wasn't. It was terrible, actually, by then. Back in the day, it was okay. It was passable, but it was definitely not, I'd get to a point and I'd be like, I don't know if he told me that the bus was at 3 or there were 3 buses at 6. And I'm like, oh, God, I have no idea.
So you taught there. And then now it seems like you tour.
Yes. Well, that's the thing. So, once you're there, right, then you meet all these people. And, of course, I'm teaching circus kids who then are, going. Some of them were already professionals, and doing pretty well for themselves already, and they just wanted some extra learning. When they were like, "Hey, you're going to be back here next year, or like, are you going to be here in summer? Or, like, there's a festival. Maybe we could get you to come in and like do, we could all juggle." And I was like, "Sure."
Were you doing juggling full time then? I mean, were you doing a lot?
Oh, sure.
When did you start?
When did I start?
It's juggling.
Started juggling when I was 12.
Okay.
I got my first paid gig probably when I was like 15 or 16.
Wow.
And then in college we started juggling with a group, and then of course that group broke up. We broke up the band because everyone had a different definition of what the term "I would like to be a professional juggler" is.
That's always the big challenge, yeah.
Yeah, you're like, really? I thought being a professional juggler meant I was going to tour around and get the jobs that I wanted to, trying to get. And that was not what everyone else thought it meant.
Yeah,
so
everyone has different opinions. Yeah.
It's like being in a band. So then eventually I was a solo artist, and then I was solo artist on the Ren Fair circuit for like a year and a half, and then picked up the Karamazov brothers, or they picked up me rather, and then I toured with them for 2 years, and then weirdly enough, not that it's ever all about money, but I was actually doing better as a solo performer booking my own shows than I was with touring with a touring show that I was not in charge of. So,
which is kind of how it is, and with solo art, it's why you find so many Scottish and Irish solo musicians out there, because they're like, I make more money this way.
Yeah, and it's like.
But then you start missing playing with the band. But
right.
But then you got Carl Ash.
Fun, right? Oh yeah,
Giacomo.
And we do the knife throwing show together, and I will occasionally get the Fools of Fortune together. It's like a few jugglers that I can get together for a few months, a few weeks. Actually, we're going to be here for the last 3 weekends of Sherwood Forest as Fools of Fortune.
Wow.
Yep. So we're going to get a couple people together and do the show, and maybe there'll be mouse traps. I don't know. We're hoping.
No. Last big tour I remember, I think you were going through Germany. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, that was like so for a while. I was there like June, July, August.
Oh, okay.
And so I'd go through England to my castle, and then I would shoot on down to Germany, and then cross Germany like for a month and a half, and then do the Czech Republic, which is a show that I do almost every year, even if I don't have another tour going on. I'll just shoot over there and do that show.
Why the Czech Republic?
Because it's gorgeous.
Really?
Oh my God, it's a beautiful town. Český Krumlov, which is spelled
I've heard you talk about this.
Cesky. Krumlov is Krumlov, and it is a gorgeous city. The entire city is an UNESCO World Heritage Site. The entire city.
Wow.
And it is literally. I mean, it's been in a ton of movies. It was in The Illusionist with Edward Norton. It's like, this is the one you film when you're like, we need a good shot of some gorgeous medieval town. Oh, go there and do it. And you just take a shot.
Zoom in, right.
Yeah. So it's just great, and I have a great time there. And the people are really awesome, and I'm they put me on this giant stage in the middle of this giant piazza where there's like literally thousands of people, and they're like, this Amerikanski from United States of America, he's going to juggle, and it's crazy. It's hilarious. I mean, because I don't speak Czech. I speak like 12 words of Czech adequately. The rest I destroy. And then we just have this really great, fun time trying. It's a show about me trying to speak Czech and juggle at the same time. And
okay, so you do speak Czech during the show?
Yeah, badly.
Or attempt to, yes. Yeah, I've done that before. Well, not Czech, but you're taking on one of your adventures. Did you already do that one? Or
no, we're going to that in June.
That's the one you're coming in June. And where's that going to?
Well, basically, so we're just going to Český Krumlov because the festival's 3 days. And then there's also like rafting, and there's some theaters that we're going to go see that are near there, which are incredible.
Are you staying in one place, or
For half the tour, we're going to be in Český Krumlov because there's a Baroque theater. One of 3 surviving Baroque theaters exists in that city. The rest are burned to the ground. And
the rest they couldn't fix, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Amazing place. It's like Baron Munchausen, with all the sets and the drops and all the sound effects and the machines and all these things. And this, oh god, it's incredible. The machinery is amazing.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna be there for a few days. We're gonna, like we said, we're gonna raft. We're gonna do some other excursions there, and then we're gonna go to Prague and then do for like 5 days and do excursions from there.
Okay, now I'm here at Sherwood Forest Fair, and I've already gotten people saying, "Oh, did you see this? Rent Adventures, Paolo Garbanzo," and what I was really intrigued with is that, again, like I said, you did it bigger and better than I did. Is that you have like multiple lined up already?
Yes.
And what all? Could you just tell me? Go ahead and.
Well, it's really started. We
and
said,
you're doing multiple musicians too, right?
Yeah. So we're
artists.
Yeah, we're doing. This all started. We were going to do New Year's because we were like, well, that's not when we don't have any gigs, We don't,
Yeah.
So like we're free at New Year's. So like let's do New Year's, and I would say thanks Carl Ash for being such an amazing promoter that we filled it up in literally
How many
like
people?
12.
12.
And we filled it up in the first. Yeah, we want to keep them small. We're not out to like 35 people. Woo, because the point of it
How
is
are
kind
you
of
traveling? You just said it.
Usually, well, we hire a vehicle.
Okay.
And then they're we know a guy.
Yes.
And yeah, so it's great. So we filled it up like amazingly fast before we even left Sherwood. So we were like, oh well, maybe we should do another one. And Carl loves Tuscany, so we were like, well, let's go to Tuscany. So then we filled that one up, and then we said, well, and then they moved the dates of Sherwood so that we had February open, and I was like, well, why don't we just do Carnevale in Sicily? And he was like, okay, let's do that, and then we filled that up, and then so we have 2 more tours. We have another Tuscany tour and the Czech Republic tour. They're not full, but we have a group.
Right.
So and then my Czech tour because Carl's going off somewhere else. He's going to Tuscany. The guys from Volgamont were like, well, we're going to be in Germany. Let's all meet up. And I was like, oh, okay, sure. So
Nice.
so they're bringing some of their fans, and we're going to all meet up in Czech Republic and do the show there, and then wander around Prague for a while. So it'll be great.
That sounds pretty cool. So you are bringing others. And I think weren't there some washing well wenches or?
We are in the midst of trying to figure out for 2018.
Okay.
Probably October. This is not nailed down because it's really hard to nail down the washer well wenches. That was not a.
That didn't came out. Never mind.
If you know what I mean, and what I mean is that it's really.
Yes, I got you. I understand what you're saying. I think these people do too.
They're very busy. So yeah, but it looks like it's going to be October 2018, okay. Maybe a Halloween in Ireland and Wales.
Oh wow!
And like do a little thing where we take a ferry across the
Holyhead.
So
nice.
Yeah. So because we were talking about Wales because there's the best castles in England. In
oh my gosh,
Great Britain are in Wales, and they were like, "Well, what about drinking in Dublin?" And I was like, "Well, all right, so." So yeah, so that might be a giant tour with a lot of basically the more people go on the tour, the more washer well wenches we can have on the tour.
Right.
So fortunately, there's a lot of them.
Right.
So bring your friends and you get an extra washer well wench. So kind of like a bonus.
With all your traveling, what kind of can you what's your favorite place that you've ever been to?
Oh my gosh, it's impossible to say because I'm not even being diplomatic. It's more the like this has Cinque Terre has the mountains, the crystal clear blue water, and what I do there is it's on the Italian Riviera. You go hiking in the morning, and then you end up in some towns. You have a little lunch in a cafe somewhere, and then it's hot, so you go swimming in the crystal clear blue water, and then you get out and you have a little food, and then you go do shows at a piazza of whatever town you're in, and then you go drinking with friends, and then you wake up and do it all again, and it's like that's pretty awesome. So then...
that's your summers and...
yeah, sometimes. But then, like Český Krumlov is a gorgeous city with a lot of history and, a lot of other things going on. So, you're like, well, what do you want to see? What do you want to do? And sometimes I'm in the mood for, amazing theater, and sometimes I'm just in the mood to go swimming. So, so many... Baden-Baden in Germany is amazing. The baths there, actually, like originally Roman baths. Pretty much everywhere in Germany that there were hot baths, the Romans were, because they were like, wait, hot water without having to like burn a ton of wood. We're there. Booyah. Bonus. So.
V.
Yes. Exactly. Bonus. Yeah. So, it just kind of depends. In English, up in the Corny Fells, up in Cumbria, freaking gorgeous. And just, like, there's this place, Derwent, has those pencils, and they're very famous. They're coloring pencils for, coloring landscapes. And you're kind of like, these are weird colors. And you're like, some sort of weird burnt umber kind of thing, and this kind of off green. And then you go to Cumbria, and you're like, oh, that color is that bush. that color is that specific tree bark color. And you're like, oh, that's why they have those weird colors. So the place is just fantastic. And, I don't know. It's like, can you have a favorite? Earth. Earth is my favorite place. It's where I keep all my stuff.
Okay, how about a little easier one? Best travel tips?
Oh, gosh. Well, kind of, that just depends on where you are. If you're in a big city, always be careful. Just, don't be a target. And it's not like there are terrible places to be, but, and
have you ever been robbed?
I've been accosted. They never succeeded. So
because you have your juggling knives, almost sharp juggling knives.
There's this kind of strange thing that they'll do. I mean, especially if you're alone, a couple of guys will try to like divert your attention and be like, "Hey, look at this, look at this." Meanwhile, the guy's just grabbing into your pockets. Don't have anything valuable in your pockets. Don't have anything that's easy access. That's kind of like my general. Because you just never know. You're on a crowded subway. Some guy picks pockets. Travel vaguely light. I mean, especially if you're like in Europe or something like that, it's not like you need to take a lot of clothes with you. Because go buy some. Just travel light and maybe get a new shirt. You can get an Italian cool guy shirt that you're like, I feel like a cool guy with this shirt on. That's what I think you should do. And help the Italian economy.
What about like getting over there? I mean, do you travel well on the planes?
Yeah, usually. There was that one time where when I went to the Czech Republic to do the festival, they totally lost my luggage. And
what did you juggle?
I juggled wine bottles, bananas, a chair, and just other stuff.
Juggler's got it so easy.
Yeah, you just like...
I have an auto harp. You could juggle a chair.
Yeah, you can probably carry on the auto harp. They don't let me. They don't let me carry on the knives. So like all my... Yeah, literally, it was like I have some bean bags. That was the only thing that I had in my carry-on.
Impressive.
Yeah, and I was like, oh man,
time to get another onion.
So boned. And I literally did the entire festival, and all my stuff showed up the last day at the end of the day. And I was like, oh great, just in time for me to leave. That's great.
Right.
But they were like super impressed because they were like, wait, you don't have props? And I was like, yeah, I don't know, I'll find some wine bottles or something, it'll be cool. They're like, what? You will juggle the wine bottles? That's very impressive. I was like, oh, really?
Yes, it is. I planned this the whole
totally
time.
planned this whole time. It's the improvisational theater.
That actually raises an interesting thing. Did you get reimbursed by the airline? Did you end up buying clothes and having the airline reimburse?
Well, they
you?
found my stuff. I mean, so it's
but
like...
there's like some law. I know. Okay, so like 2 years ago, I think they were. I guess not. 2 years ago, they had I think we were in Donegal, and my stuff didn't arrive. So basically, what they did is they said, we will send it to you when it arrives. In the meantime, I had like 2 days or something of... I basically was buying stuff on their penny. It turned out they ended up reimbursing me.
No, I had my basic stuff, clothing and stuff, but I did have to borrow a costume.
Yeah.
I mean, literally everything was gone, so I was like, oh my god, this is...
But you look more Czech.
Yeah. I did. Yeah. And I ended up being on the...
Crazy guys.
It was like, not in my costume. I ended up being on the cover of their tour guide brochures. I was like, oh, really? Like... But, yeah.
That's awesome. Final places. Any other final things that would really... For traveling, adventuring, what inspires you to adventure? Is it Dungeons and Dragons? Is it?
I was inspired by Dungeons and Dragons long ago. And maybe, honestly, I mean, that's kind of a good point. It's like maybe I'm just like, yeah, like let's go climb that castle. Like, what the heck? You know, what could go wrong? What, banshees? I know how to beat them, you know. But and it's not like a fearlessness of anything, but you're kind of like, I don't know, let's go find out. You know, what's the worst that could happen? Yeah. And an adventure is only an adventure when something goes horribly wrong, but no one dies, I guess. Maybe. Right. So, things almost go catastrophically wrong, but then don't.
Have you ever had those adventures?
Oh, yes.
Near catastrophic, almost death.
We've had insane...
I want to hear that story.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, so many... well, I wouldn't say death. Well, yeah. Yeah. Oh, gosh, where were we?
Hopefully it wasn't on one of your Rent Adventures.
No. Actually,
like I did on my Celtic Invasion.
Uh-oh.
Go ahead.
No, we everyone has survived. You know what? And you know what? Here's the thing. Let me tell you. So our friends in Sicily, and again, there's so much history in Sicily. If you're interested in history at all, there's 700 years of Greek history and 500 years of Greek history before the Romans ever show up. So, like... Romans, and but like so much stuff going on in that place, ancient Greek ruins. But we know so many awesome people there. So one of our adventurers with us left her purse like in this town that we had spent Carnivale in. Tens of thousands of people, literally tens of thousands of people, and we're like, oh my gosh, your purse is gone. And so, we checked everywhere, we did everything, and we were like, well, wait, we think it might have been at this restaurant. And of course, we have to leave to get back to Palermo to get on the planes, and we're like, the restaurant is closed, there's nobody there, the restaurant doesn't open until 2, and we're like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And our guy, Dario, he's only one miracle away from being a saint now, he was like, well, no, I know this guy, and let me call him, and then and they phone treed all the way around until they found, I know the lady who works at the restaurant, and and they got the purse, shipped it back to. Well, unfortunately, didn't have her passport in it. She had her passport and all that stuff. So,
okay.
But we were like, we are driving away from the town, going, well, it's gone forever, and 3 days later. It showed up at her,
nice.
at her house. So,
wow.
And you're like, wait, you called? I mean, the chain of phone calls that happened to make that happen, and just the people that you had to know that guy who knew that guy who knew that guy, and you just talk to these people in these bakery, and you're like, well, the bakery is across the street from the restaurant. They got to know somebody. These towns are so small, everyone knows everybody, and so you're like, oh no, I know her. Yeah, I'll give her a call when she gets up. And there it is. Boom. So
incredible.
Yeah, I mean, we were floored because that doesn't happen in America, right? Like, it seems very strange and odd, but
all right. Yeah. So final notes is you are at the Sherwood Forest Fair right now.
Yes.
Where are you going after this?
So April, I'm here at Sherwood Forest for we got this weekend and 3 more. The last weekend of April, I'll be at the Gathering of Legends in North Carolina. It's a fairy festival. So I get to do some wackier stuff. And then Tennessee Ren Fair in May. And then we run off to Italy in June.
And you can find out more about you at?
GarbanzoJuggling.com.
And Ren Adventure. Oh, sorry.
That's Garbanzo, like the bean. Garbanzo.
And then juggling.com. And then
renadventures.com.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much.
Oh, yeah. And watch out for wild boar in Italy.
Wild. Okay, explain.
Wild boar. Well, sometimes you go hiking and then you... have
you really run into...
I fortunately did not run into the actual boar themselves.
Literally, yeah.
I did run into a sign that said, in Italian, warning, wild boar. Now, the word for pig and wild boar are 2 totally different things, and I wasn't really sure if that was the right word. And I was like, wait a minute, what is that word? Something, something, danger, something, 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 maybe that's wild boar, something, something, something. I am hiking, like, way out where nobody else hikes. Like, only Germans hike here. And then I look around and I realize there's shotgun shell casings, like, everywhere.
Oh,
and I was like, oh, I'm in trouble. Fortunately, boar are nocturnal, mostly. But it really is a really disturbing sight. So, stay on the paths, mostly.
All right, thanks so much. I'll talk to you later.
All right, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed this interview, then make sure you go ahead and subscribe over at keltfather.com. Talk to you later. Sláinte.